So, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you for joining us. Today, we wanted to honor a wonderful Vaishnav who has departed today. And he is a wonderful servant of Srila Prabhupada in the Hare Krishna movement, dedicated to him. And we can talk about his life. We've got some information which hopefully is very accurate. We've known him for personally quite a long time, 34 years. I think in 1988, 87, 86, 86 we met him. And we have a lot of affection for him. So we'll share that towards the end, but we wanted to read. If any devotee would like to read his life history, please do feel free to do so.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read.
Okay. The only thing with your side, sometimes there's quite a lot of interference. So let's see how it goes, huh?
Okay, so I'll rather not do it then. That's okay. Someone else can do it.
No, it's okay. So you can start, Prabhu.
Okay. Gaudiya Vaishnav Sannyasi and a leader of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Bhakticaru Swami hails from an aristocratic Bengali family born on 17 September 1945, where he spent most of his early childhood in urban Kolkata. He went on to study at university in Germany, where he came across the Vedic scriptures. In 1975, he returned to India to wholeheartedly pursue spiritual life. This spurred in him the desire to explore and understand the spiritual reality. After completing his studies, he spent a number of years searching for a guru to guide him on the spiritual path. His search came to an end when he came across Srila Prabhupada's teachings in the form of one of his books, The Nectar of Devotion. As he was reading this book, he became more and more convinced that Srila Prabhupada was the person who could properly guide him on the spiritual path. Thus, he accepted him as a spiritual master. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was in America. Bhakticaru Swami left home and joined ISKCON in Sridham, Mayapur in late 1976. His first meeting with Srila Prabhupada took place in January 1977, where he was instructed to translate all of his books into Bengali. Joining Srila Prabhupada's entourage from this time onwards, Maharaj was soon made ISKCON's Secretary for Indian Affairs. He was then given first and second initiation in Mayapur during the Gaur Purnima festival of 1977. Soon thereafter, during the Snan Yatra festival in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada gave Maharaj sannyas.
Just one second, Uttaf. So this is absolutely incredible. If we look at this timeline, Bhakticaru Swami came back to Bharat in 1975 when he was 30, spent a couple of years, few years searching, and then he came across the nectar of devotion, was it instruction? Devotion. And then he came to Mayapur because he was very impressed with Srila Prabhupada. In late 1976, now Srila Prabhupada left the planet in November 1977. So if we think about this, in January, Bhakticaru Swami received first and second initiation. No, sorry, Gaur Punim, so that would have been March. And then Snan Yatra is in July, or June, July. So 3 months later, he received sannyas, and he was 35, 37, 38. Yeah, so that's absolutely the most incredible journey. Nobody gets sannyas within few months of receiving the first, let alone second initiation. That's very, very unique. So Prabhupada saw great qualities in Bhakticaru Swami. And if you see his first meeting with Prabhupada, he asked him to translate all of his books into Bengali. How incredible this instruction was, because he fulfilled it as well. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. Please carry on with the.
Maharaj traveled with and personally served Srila Prabhupada for the final year of Prabhupada's life. After Srila Prabhupada's departure from this world in 1977, Maharaj served in Mayapur for several years, whilst the society was going through a critical phase. In 1987, Maharaj became an initiating guru in ISKCON and joined its governing body commission, serving as its chairman in 1989. By 1995, Maharaj had translated into Bengali all of Srila Prabhupada's works on major Vedic literatures, consisting of more than 50 volumes of books including Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Nectar of Devotion, just as Srila Prabhupada had instructed him in their very first meeting.
So he used to actually wake up. He used to sleep at, I think, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock at night, wake up at midnight. And through the night, he'd be translating Srila Prabhupada's books from English to Bengali. Now remember, some of these books originally are written in Bengali. Chaitanya Charitamrita is a Bengali text. So Prabhupada translated it into English, and he translated it back into Bengali. So it's quite extraordinary. Thank you. Please carry on.
In 1996, Maharaj took on the mammoth task of making a biographical video epic on the life of his spiritual master, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Entitled Abhay Charan, this video series was broadcast on national television in India and is distributed globally on DVD. In 2004, at the invitation of the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Maharaj built a magnificent new ISKCON temple in just 10 months in Ujjain, the ancient and holy city, also known as Avantika, and the place where Krishna and Balram went to school. The temple has 3 huge altars for the worship of Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Sri Sri Krishna Balram, and Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, a Goshala for cow protection, a midday meals facility for school children, a rural program to spread Vedic culture to village. I can't read the last line, Prabhuji.
People, and several outreach centers in Bhopal and Indore. So this is the temple in Ujjain. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is the main temple hall, and under these domes are the glorious altars. And this is the guest house, that's right. And beautiful gardens, they're so well kept. They're so very well kept. And there's on this side, there is the food stalls, the prashadam stalls, and the different shops. And then at the back of this side is the Goshala, one of their Goshalas. They have a number of Goshalas.
Where they build the
That's a
places.
totally different place. Yeah. And this is one of the altars of Radha Madan Mohan. And they also have Jagannath Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Gaunitai, and Nrsimhadev. It's a unique altar which goes sort of semicircle. And if you're standing in one particular place in the temple, you would be able to see all the altars. It's really amazingly designed. And he built it in 10 months. Extraordinary. Okay, Prabhu, carry on.
Maharaj served as the ISKCON governor for France and South Africa at a time when each of these zones was facing immense difficulties, and through perseverance was able to turn around the situations there. In 2007, Maharaj began an altar production facility in Ujjain. The facility manufactures beautiful deity altars of all shapes and sizes for temples and devotees globally. In 2013, Maharaj began development of a new ISKCON temple in Panihati, a very holy place in the Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition, being the home of Raghav Pandit and the place of Lord Nityanand's chipped rice festival. In 2014, Maharaj established Arogya Niketan, a traditional and authentic Ayurvedic clinic in Ujjain. In 2014, Maharaj joined Artha Forum and began delivering keynote speeches globally on spirituality to large audiences of business leaders. Maharaj is the chairman of Annamrita Foundation, ISKCON's midday meals program, which feeds 1.2 million children across India every day. Maharaj was recently the chairman of the GBC Executive Committee and the GBC Zonal Secretary for ISKCON in Mayapur, Kolkata, Ujjain, Bhubaneswar, Bangladesh, and Seattle. He travels constantly across India, US, UK, South Africa, the Middle East, and Australia, holding spiritual retreats and seminars and fulfilling Srila Prabhupada's instruction to him to spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhakticaru Swami has on many occasions displayed his mastery and expertise in the field of management and leadership, community building, and strengthening relationships. He has delivered presentations as a keynote speaker at top management and engineering institutes of the world, MIT, Boston, IIMs, and IITs. He has founded and established I Foundation, a leading Hindu charity organization in the United Kingdom. In 2016, Bhakticaru Swami launched a beautiful memoir, Ocean of Mercy, A Search Fulfilled, where he recollects his intimate interactions with Srila Prabhupada. This book describes how he developed a genuine love and dedication for Srila Prabhupada, who gave him a life of Krishna Bhakti and thus revealed to him to be truly an ocean of mercy. On 17 November 2016, Institute of International Social Development, New York, an NGO in special consultative status with the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations, awarded an accolade to Bhakticaru Swami as a display of their gratitude for all the support he gave them on behalf of ISKCON in spreading the message of spirituality for the world peace and understanding between nations and civilizations. He has recently started a new project called Veda Foundation and Cow Sanctuary, which is situated in DeLand, Florida, and stretches 120 acres. His mission there is to propagate the Vedic culture and wisdom more simply in the West through setting in motion farm communities and visual media. He carries the following responsibilities in his preaching of God consciousness around the world. Invited as an honorary guest to speak on various topics concerning consciousness and ethical leadership, building credible leaders, the art of successful relationships, and communities at corporate enterprises such as Ernst & Young, Accenture, HSBC Bank, UK. Caretaker for the communities in areas such as Sridham, Mayapur, Bangladesh, Kolkata, Ujjain, Odisha, Seattle, and DeLand, Florida. Traveling and preaching across India, USA, UK, Western Europe, South Africa, UAE, Southeast Asia, and Australia for the past 42 years. He continues to be an inspirer and guide to thousands of people whose lives have been transformed by his teachings and instructions. His vision and mission. Those 2 months have turned into 40 years, but they have flown by. And by Srila Prabhupada's causeless mercy, my life has found its perfection. My realization is that I am an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, and that my life's goal is to develop my loving relationship with him is all due to the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, who took me by the hand and led me to that relationship. I know that I have found the true path to perfection, and that achieving success is only a matter of continuously moving forward without deviation. Ocean of Mercy. Maharaj's voice, sweeter than honey, has immortalized many of our Acharya's prayers, and most famously Maharaj's heartfelt rendition of the Gopi's Song of Separation from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam rings in our ears.
Just one second. So now the GBC has issued a statement today, a brief statement, and we've taken parts of that brief statement and added it into this presentation, which starts from here. So please carry on.
Despite his position and many qualifications, both material and spiritual, Maharaj was a humble and loving gentleman who took pleasure in serving devotees. Indeed, one of Maharaj's favorite pastimes was to personally cook and serve prasadam for the devotees. As in all aspects of his service and gentle and cultured nature, Maharaj's cooking was highly refined and infused with bhakti.
So that's the GBC doesn't mention this next bit. This is what I added in. He visited South London several times in the early 90s. And then he was always quite busy traveling around the world. And when he was in the UK, he would mainly spend his time at Bhaktivedanta Manor. So we got very little opportunity to actually have association with him. But the times we did spend with him were unique. He would come, he would sing some incredible bhajans. I think we held one satsang at home, our very first satsang. And he came and he inaugurated it. He sang so beautifully, and we had so many guests who'd come, and he spoke so wonderfully. He was such a sweet gentleman, very kind in his dealings, always smiling. Yeah, never seemed ruffled at all. He was just the most incredible person. And I must say, I was very attracted to him in terms of, because at that time I realized that I needed a spiritual guide. And I felt inclined towards him to become my spiritual guide. But he was not so much in the country. And then later on, we met His Holiness Krishnadas Swami Maharaj, who was always in the UK. And I'm one of those sort of persons who needs to be taught a lot, a great deal. So then I took shelter of His Holiness Krishnadas Swami Maharaj. And I wrote to Bhakticaru Swami saying, I'm thinking of taking this step. And he completely sanctioned it. He said, yes, very good move, because Maharaj is so fixed in Sanatana Dharma, you could not have a better teacher. So Maharaj is very open-hearted, very kind, very generous, very compassionate, very sweet. And one thing I followed since the day he's taught us is Ekadashi. He used to follow Ekadashi very strictly, and he would not eat anything at all. It would be nirjal, and he would stay up all night as well. It was incredible. And then he taught me anyway, how to complete the Ekadashi fast which I follow to this very day. I did it just 2-3 days ago, remembering him actually. We take a liter or a bit more of milk and water mixed together, warm, and we drink it. And what that does is it flushes out the system, all the toxins in the body. So I must say, I'll always remember him, especially for that instruction. Okay, so please, Udapu, carry on.
There are no words that provide solace when facing separation from such a glorious Vaishnava. But we can take some comfort in the fact that His Holiness Bhakticaru Maharaj lived constantly in meditation on how to serve Srila Prabhupada and his mission. Undoubtedly, he now continues that service under the direction of His Divine Grace. Let us offer true homage to Maharaj by continuing his legacy of service in our own lives. Let us commit ourselves, mind, body, and soul to the service of Srila Prabhupada, following in the footsteps of his beloved servant, His Holiness Bhakticaru Swami. One of Maharaj's most cherished instructions from His Divine Grace was, "Your love for me will be shown by how you cooperate together after I am gone." Now in Maharaj's absence, we are reminded to take that instruction to heart and reaffirm our dedication to ISKCON and to each other. As Maharaj often glorified Srila Prabhupada with the beautiful words of the gopis, let us also remember Maharaj as that most munificent Vaishnava who will eternally inspire the followers of Srila Prabhupada to share the glory of Lord Krishna.
Good.
Tav kathamritam tapt jivanam kavibhir iditam kalma sapaham Shravana Mangalam Srimad Atatam Bhuvi grananti ye bhuri the janaha. The nectar of your words and the descriptions of your activities are the life and soul of those suffering in this material world. These narrations, transmitted by learned sages, eradicate one's sinful reactions and bestow good fortune upon whoever hears them. These narrations are broadcast all over the world and are filled with spiritual power. Certainly, those who spread the message of Godhead are most munificent. His Holiness Bhakticaru Swami ki jai.
So I'd like to request Madhusudan Prabhu.
Yeah, Haribol.
Would you like to share any experiences, any pastimes?
Yes, yeah. All glories to Bhakticaru Swami Maharaj, and it's a passing away of a Vaishnava is not an ordinary thing. It is amazing, actually. So, in that sense, you know, it in some ways we celebrate the disappearance days of Prabhupada and other Vaishnavas, and we observe those days and remember them. So this will go down as a 5th of July, isn't it? Nearly 4th of July, Independence Day. But Bhakticaru Swami, I remember, I've known him for a long time as well. I used to see him so many times at the manor. Then he had been to South London, so you know, in the same way, he used to come to Coventry a lot as well. And he's also been to my house, actually. You know, there was a house program. There were some issues in the GBC resolutions and all that, and needed to be communicated and all that. So he used to travel quite a lot. And he came to my house and with other Maharajas, and we were discussing a few issues, but we were at that time still in the growing phase of Krishna consciousness in Coventry. So I do remember him very well, and I love his, kirtans. Very sweet voice and very from the heart. I used to play his kirtans in my car a lot, you know, whenever I used to travel. So it's always remembering. And I used to see him at the Rath Yatras, you know, he was always there. So, you know, our memories are there, you know. But in times like this, I know all the disciples and everyone gets affected by it. And Nabi, you're no better person than the one to know how you were by the side of our Guru Maharaj, you know, Krishna's Maharaj in Vrindavan, right, all the way through. So, you know, you also saw his passing away, and in Vrindavan, at the Yamuna River, the funeral ceremony itself and everything. So with Shivram Maharaj, you did a wonderful job there, you know, looking after Maharaj. And I remember, you know, that was a day when you were supposed to be bringing Maharaj to UK. And we were all waiting, you know, we're going to come to the airport in the evening. And strangely enough, you know, sitting in my garden, I had this some kind of peace atmosphere descended on me, you know, as I was chanting and praying, you know, for Maharaj at that time. And I really felt something in my heart. And then I got the news, you know, that Maharaj will not be able to make it to UK. And then obviously, you know, we witnessed the whole passing away ceremony and all that in Vrindavan on Facebook and live. And some of our God brothers were able to go to Vrindavan, you know, make it to the funeral. And so you were there all the time. You did a wonderful job for Maharaj. And times like this, you know, you will be a great support to the disciples, of and all the God brothers. They're all we're all Prabhupada's family in a way, big family, Prabhupada has created a house in which everybody can live very peacefully, so there's a book there, isn't it? Prabhupada's book. He built a house in which all the world can live in, as long as we can understand the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and the Vaishnava. So that's all I can share that with you, and my heart goes to all the disciples, and obviously pray that Bhakticaru is in no better place at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and Radha and Krishna, and he will be carrying on his kirtans and in his wonderful voice, So thank you very much for letting me share this little bit.
Thank you very much. Thank
Okay.
you.
Hare Krishna, yeah.
So just thank you very much, Madhusudan Prabhu. That was really nice what you shared. Just recent events, I suppose, to let devotees know, as far as I understand, about just over 3 weeks ago, Maharaj decided to go, maybe 4 weeks ago, from Ujjain. He was in Ujjain under the lockdown in Bharat. And the lockdown was lifted, the international flight started, and he went, I think, via Emirates to the Emirates, and then on to, from Mumbai to Emirates to Orlando, I think New York. And in New York, he did a couple of house programs, and then straight to Orlando, where he has this beautiful project. It's his pet project at the moment, which is a development of a very nice temple there. Because in Orlando there wasn't much, but they've got some nice land, small temple at the moment, big plans there. So he was preaching there, but in the journey he became unwell. So somewhere along this journey he caught the virus, COVID-19, and so he wasn't feeling well. They took him to see the doctor, they had a test done. But he was continuing to preach to the devotees how we're going to improve this project, and encouraging them to go out and really develop the community as well. But he was not feeling well in himself, and then 5 days later, that's right, 5 days later, he was having difficulty breathing problems, and then they took him to the hospital, who told that Maharaj needs to stay, as far as I'm aware. And he said to his disciple that, I don't want to be on a ventilator. He was very clear in that instruction. But the hospital doctors, they said, well, you do need to be on a ventilator. You're having difficulty breathing. So then Maharaj said to his disciple, I'll leave it to you. And the disciple didn't want to make the decision there and then. He consulted with the GBC, and the GBC said, the executive council said, yes, we have to do our very best to keep Maharaj in this world, because we need him here. So then he was put on the ventilator roughly 17 days ago. It was, I believe, Wednesday, 2 Wednesdays ago. It was just before Ekadashi. And he's been on the ventilator since then, and slowly, there was some progress in the beginning, but slowly the health has gradually deteriorated. And then I think about 5 days ago, he had a heart attack. They stabilized him from that, but then the kidneys were not functioning, so they got those things going as well. But then I think other organs started to fail, and we got the news today that other organs are going as well. So it's very unfortunate for us. It's a huge loss for the society, absolutely huge loss for the disciples, huge loss for the whole community, because he's so charismatic and such a powerful leader. So it's a difficult one for us. Of course, for him, he has gone back to the spiritual world. He has definitely gone back to the spiritual world. So Bhakticaru Swami Maharaj ki jai. So, is there anybody else who'd like to share anything about Maharaj? Maybe I've made a mistake in some of this narration. You can correct that mistakes. Okay, if not, we can chant to the Rishinga Kavach. Karuna Pandar is with us, and she can lead the Nishinga Kavach for Maharaj. And of course, as I said earlier on, this is actually for our purification. Maharaj is always going to be protected by the Lord because he's given everything. He's given complete. I think he was about 30 when he came from Germany. He was a professional. He could have worked, he could have earned, he could have become a millionaire, perhaps a billionaire by now. But he gave everything for the Lord and to Prabhupada. So he's under their shelter. He's with them now. So, but this is, it is also our duty when the Vaishnava leaves to pray for him. But actually, it's for our own purification. Nishingadev Bhagwan ki jai.
Shingadev Bhagwan ki jai, Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, His Highness Bhakti